guys, it's Megan. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so when you have an idea for a project and it works okay initially, but eventually, you use it for a while and you realize that it's kind of a piece of crap. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but that has definitely happened to me a few times. And I'm not talking about projects that just flat out don't work. That'll be another video. I'm talking about the stuff that you end up tossing about a year later and wondering why you ever thought this was a good idea in the first place. So without further ado, here are 10 craft projects that I regret making. The first project that didn't exactly turn out how I planned was my whiteboard wall. I repainted my room a few years ago, and I thought it would be cool to repaint a wall with whiteboard paint. Okay, so it was a good idea in theory, because I have always been the type of person that likes to redecorate my room every couple months, and I figured that I could swap out the drawings every so often. Plus with a whiteboard, there's a lot less dust than there would be with a chalkboard wall, which were pretty popular at the time. But in reality, it did not exactly end up being the most practical decision. For one thing, whiteboard paint is super expensive. I don't know the exact price, but I do know that it was around $200. It was kind of like resin almost, because there were two parts. There was A and B, and you had to mix them together, and you had to use it within a certain time frame, or else it would go bad. And since it was so expensive, and since I wanted it to take up a whole wall, if you look behind my bed, the wall back there is still purple, which pretty much means that my bed has to stay where it is forever. But the cost was not the main issue. I don't know why, but for some reason, only certain whiteboard markers will work on this. I tried the Expo markers, and they did not work at all. They sort of disappear once you put them on the whiteboard. It's really weird. I ended up trying out a couple different brands, and I eventually found some that worked. Unfortunately, they're the smallest whiteboard markers that they make, and I painted a whole freaking wall with this stuff, so a little annoying, but it's fine. But then there's the issue of actually thinking of something to draw on the whiteboard and finding the time and the motivation to do it, which does not happen. Let's be honest. I did a whole big drawing for Christmas last year. I did not erase it until July. And then when you finally go to erase it, the paint isn't completely smooth. There's all these little bumps in it. You get all these little black dots in the bumps of the paint, and it takes about 30 minutes to erase the whole dang thing. And this isn't something that you can just paint over. You need to get a special solvent and sand it down really well. It's a whole process. Moral of the story, whiteboard paint, probably not the best idea. Another project that I loved when I first made it was this DIY wall decal. I made the stripes by sticking some clear contact paper onto my wall and then painting over it, and I made the stars with some Cricut removable vinyl. I actually loved how this project turned out, and it's actually one of the few projects in this video that I would actually still recommend making, with one small caveat. You see, it was all well and good until I adopted my two cats. Because when I first got them, they stayed with me in my room or in my craft room until they were trained and everything. And Miss Millie over here, she decided that it would be a great idea to just pull this thing off the wall. Seriously, just about every day she's over here, she peels it off a little bit more. It's her favorite toy at this point, I don't know. She has so much fun with it, the paint's non-toxic, it's not gonna hurt her. So yeah, if you don't have cats that get into everything, I would still recommend making this. Or if you do have cats, just put it somewhere where they can't reach it. But yeah. Another thing that I kind of regret making was this cardboard shelf. I made this one in a cardboard crafts video, and while it technically did work, the end result really wasn't worth the time that it took to make it. Sure, it was pretty much free to make, but between covering the cardboard with the paper mache and the multiple layers of paint, I think it took at least 4 or 5 hours. And you can get these command shelves for $15 on Amazon. They look a lot nicer. This is one situation where I would probably recommend actually buying it instead of making it yourself. If you want to make a photo-led shelf like this, there are so many better options. If you can, and if you have the resources, simple woodworking is a super valuable skill to have. I always tend to do crafts on my channel that use materials/tools that are a little more easily accessible, but power tools are not as scary as you think. I promise, it's actually fairly easy to get the hang of. Something else that I made that didn't exactly have the best end result was this polymer clay wall pocket. The main problem with this was that I didn't have enough clay, and whenever I was making this, for some reason there was no clay in the craft stores around me. It was last year, when everywhere was low on everything. But I made the space for the pocket by folding up some aluminum foil so that the clay would hold its shape while I baked it. And the problem was that since I had to roll the clay out so thin, you can see all the little bumps from the foil, and it is just not cute. I'm pretty sure that I said that in the video too. It probably would have looked fine if I wasn't so impatient, but I just wanted to finish it and get the video done, so sometimes things just do not work out. I actually found these little plastic wall pockets at Target in their dollar section, and they were a lot closer to what I was actually going for. And I ended up customizing this one for my bathroom using some vinyl, but you could also paint them. The fifth thing on this list is something that I severely regret a lot. But when I made this little cat toy box, I did not think that Marty would be confused and think it was a litter box. I don't think this one needs a ton of explanation. My mom said that it might have been because I lined the box with fabric, so do with that what you will. But either way, learned my lesson with that one. I made these cow print slides in a video last summer. Wow, that was a trend that really died out quickly, like pretty much all trends. But that is not the reason that they're on this list. Yeah, no, it was actually all well and good until I actually tried to wear these and the cow spots started falling off. I thought that they would be okay because I did use normal acrylic paint, which like you're not supposed to use on shoes. You're supposed to use leather paint, but I had sprayed them with some kind of sealant and I was like, oh yeah, this will work. Like this will be fine. It was not fine. But I guess like the good thing is, you know, I can just go and scrape the rest of the spots off and then get some actual leather paint to try doing it again, even though these are not leather. I don't know what they are, but anyways. Another fashion item that I made that didn't exactly turn out how I planned was this patchwork denim jacket. As you can probably tell, sewing is not exactly my main thing. I can sew okay, but garment construction, not great. I had been seeing this patchwork denim everywhere and I loved the look of it. I thought it was so cute, but being someone with like super wide hips, I try to stay away from too much detail on the bottom. So I thought that a jacket would be cute, but I couldn't really find one that I liked. And I had just gone through my closet and had found a couple pairs of old jeans from like 6th grade that will never fit me again. And I used the pockets from those jeans to make this wall organizer, which I actually really like this. 10 out of 10, one of my favorite things that I've ever made, but I used the rest of the denim to make this jacket. And let me tell you, this was a process. I made my own pattern from an existing jacket, sewed all the squares together, the whole 9 yards. I have a video on it. Really, the main issue with this is that I didn't put a lining in the jacket, so you can just feel all the little seams, and it's really not the most comfortable thing ever. Plus, I really don't love how I did the collar or the buttons. It leaves this little gap that's just not cute. Although this is something that I might want to try again, because I saw, I think it was Coolurpa, I don't know how you say her name, but she's like an actual sewing channel, and she did it where she just took an existing denim shirt, and she took the denim shirt apart and just sewed the patches on top of it and then sewed it all back together. And that seems so much easier than what I was trying to do. Like I always say, I'm not a professional at anything, and we'll just call this one a learning experience. The next one is actually another sewing project. Maybe this is just a sign that sewing is really not my thing. This mermaid tail blanket was something that I made towards the beginning of my channel. I actually got rid of it before I decided to make this video, but trust me, it was bad enough that I took the video down. It also had copyrighted music, which obviously my bad, but you could kind of get away with that back then. But it was just ugly. Like that's my main complaint. Why did I think that this was acceptable to post on the internet? I don't know. Who would want to make this? Literally no one. Plus, I filled the fin part at the bottom with pillow stuffing, which made it kind of impractical because it was like weirdly heavy at the bottom for no reason. You couldn't just fold it up like a normal blanket because there's the little fin pillow. What was I thinking? I don't know. And can we just, I mean, just look at those quality graphics. Like, yes, queen. We love it. And like these poses, just like, what am I doing? I know I still can't pose to save my life, but at least I'm self-aware. I hate it. Okay, moving on. Another thing that seemed like a good idea at the time, but didn't exactly turn out how I planned, were these cardboard drawer dividers. I thought that I made these in a video, but all I could find was this small clip of them. But I feel like it kind of gives you the idea. And this is actually like a pretty common craft. It's just some cardboard that you cut to fit inside a drawer and you cover it with contact paper. But the issue was that these little cardboard walls, they would constantly fall down if it wasn't completely filled with clothes. I don't know if the cardboard that I used was too thin or what. I just looked it up to make sure that I wasn't doing it wrong, but nope, that's how pretty much all the other tutorials did it. I did find one where they used the little iPhone desk cord holder things to hold the cardboard to the sides of your drawer, and I feel like that would work a lot better. Maybe I'll try that eventually. The labels in my craft room are something that I kind of have a love-hate relationship with. On one hand, it's one of my favorite things that I've ever made. But on the other hand, it was time consuming and impractical enough to make it onto this list. I do love the fact that I have everything labeled and I can find what I need super easily. But the original labels that I made were super time consuming to make. Ended up being an issue once I decided to change up what was in some of the bins. For the original labels, I cut out a circle from cardboard by hand, hole punched it at the top, and covered the circle with contact paper. And since these labels are circles, it was not as easy as it looks. Then I had to cut out the word from vinyl, weed the vinyl. Don't get me wrong, I still think that they look pretty nice. They're just super impractical. So I ended up just changing out all of them. For the new ones, I designed the labels to be cut from cardstock, and I also designed it so that the Cricut would put the words on it directly in pen, instead of having to do the whole vinyl process. So really the only thing that I had to do was tie it onto the handles. I did laminate them, but you don't have to. I feel like that was a lot easier and I should have done that the first time. So yeah, those were all of the crafts/DIY projects that I regret making. I'm still constantly learning, and hopefully this video can help you guys avoid some of my mistakes. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments. Have you ever had any sort of crafting fails that didn't turn out the way that you planned? So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My merch, my website, and all of my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!